This question says, if P is equal to 6, Q is equal to -3, R is equal to -5, substitute these values in the following expressions and simply write without brackets. So again, this question does not want you to work it out. It just wants you to substitute into brackets and then remove the brackets. You are not expected to work out the answer. So this is just an exercise to practice substitution into a formula and then to clear the brackets. Okay, so let's check out scenario A. Because whenever you substitute into a formula, it's always good to convert the letters into brackets. That always is recommended. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try something. Let me put this there, right above this. All right. Resume recording. Oh, I did not pause. Okay, let me continue. Now, so therefore now it is always recommended to convert the letters into brackets. So basically now this will be like, let me put the denominator one time. This will be like Q, you convert Q to a bracket. Minus P. Okay, just a minute. Convert minus, okay, Q minus P, bracket minus bracket over minus another bracket. You can see all the letters are converted to brackets. And now Q now is -3. So in that bracket, you put -3. P now is 6. So in this bracket, you put 6. And then R now is -5. You put -5 here in R. Now, remember what we said, if you don't see a number outside of a bracket, there's an invisible 1. And if there's a minus sign, it's a -1. So we are multiplying by -1 or 1. So basically what we have in the numerator is 1 times -1 is -3. 1 times -3 is -3, sorry. And a -1 times 6 is a -6. So we have -3 minus 6 in the numerator. Below here, we have a -1 times a -5. A negative times a negative is a positive. Basically, is -3 minus 6 over 5. So scenario B now says R squared. So R must be converted to a bracket, raised to the power of 2. Subtract Q to convert it to a bracket. Now we have to find what is the value of R and what is the value of Q. R is -5 and Q is -3. R is -5 and Q is -3. So R is -5, we put -5 there. Q is -3, we put -3 there. Now that's -5 squared. -5 squared is -5 times -5. -5 squared is -5 times -5. Now there's an invisible -1 outside of this bracket here. So technically, what is going on here now is a -1 times a -3. A negative times a negative is a positive, so that's +3. Now, -5 times -5 is the same as 5 times 5, because -5 times -5 is 25. 5 times 5 is 25. So therefore, -5 times -5 is the same as 5 times 5. And then you have the +3. Now remember, we are not required to work it out. But 5 times 5 is 5 squared. So that's equal to 5 squared plus 3. Okay. And let's move on to scenario C. This one says, part C says -P minus Q squared. So we have our negative, and then we open a bracket, close bracket. So already you see a letter, you put a bracket. Then we have a subtraction sign, and we have a bracket. and then this bracket is raised to the power of 2. Now we need to find what is the value of P and what's the value of Q. The value of P is 6 and the value of Q is -3. 6 and -3. P is 6 and Q is -3. P is 6 and Q is -3 minus 3. Now there's an invisible 1 outside of bracket. Always bear that in mind. You are basically 10 brackets by multiplying by, and in this case now is a -1. So that's a -1 times 6. And here we have a -1 also. So if you want, you can even separate it. Okay. So that's -1 times 6 is a -6. A negative times a positive is a negative. Now here we have a -1 times a -3 squared. Now, according to BEMDAS or BEMS, we have to do the exponents before we multiply. Exponentiation comes before multiplication. So this -1 have to stay there, and we have to do the -3 times the -3. So that is a times. We have to exponentiate before multiply. So we keep that -1 still, but we have to work out this power there. That's -3 times -3. -3 squared is -3 times -3. Now remember we said a negative times a negative is a positive. So -3 times -3 is the same as saying 3 times 3. -3 times -3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So -3 times -3 is the same as 3 times 3. Now we have that -1 to deal with there. Okay? Now we don't have to work it out. We know 3 times 3 is 9, but it said do not work it out. You don't have to work it out. 3 times 3 is 3 squared. Okay? And that's -1 times 3 squared. So basically, we're going to have a -6 minus a 3 squared. And that's basically what is the answer. Okay, you can just bring that a little closer. -3 times -3 squared. So this is the solution for this one.